All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope you don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board for the board. We hope that you enjoy.
So you're keen on music?
Welcome to episode 194 of the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill, admin on the KissFAQ message board, and we are joined today by a special guest, Keith Valcourt. I presume your title is still Global Project Manager of the Gene Simmons Vault Experience. Would that be correct, or have you had a promotion now and you get to do fries with that?
A demotion. It's now Night Janitor. But,
okay.
Night Janitor of the Vault Experience. No, yeah, same title. Whatever it means, who knows, but it is the same title.
And are you on the road today, or are you currently being held prisoner in the Fortress of Solitude?
Yes, Gene has me locked in the basement until we go back on the road. No, luckily, I'm actually home for a couple of weeks. We go to Australia the end of this month, end of August. We're going to fly to Australia to do 4 Vault experiences around the Gene Simmons Band solo shows there. So I get to be home in lovely sunny California, as you can tell by the light in back of me, for at least 2 more weeks, which is great.
I'm going to get a really nice suntan off this episode, so thank you, Keith, for joining me. I don't get out as much as I like to, and of course, San Francisco being as foggy as it is, this is my opportunity to see the sun.
Well, it's also nice that 2 of the palest human beings on the planet can get together at this time of the morning and be pale together. So it's very nice that we're pasty, we're pale, we're both here, so it's nice.
So straight out of the gate, you've got Australia coming up. You've got Vault experiences in Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane, all scheduled, ready to go. Are any of those sold out, or are any of them still available should people be interested in getting on this Vault experience?
The reality is most of the vaults, we've shipped all the vaults there already. So we built in a couple extra per city. So if you have someone coming, at the last minute, we can accommodate maybe 1, maybe 2 people. Melbourne and Sydney are pretty packed. I think we have 1 in each city extra if people want to come. Adelaide and Brisbane, there's a little more space. They're smaller cities. They're smaller groups. But it's the reaction from the Australians is amazing. And they had to wait because, we were supposed to be there earlier in the year, but then the promoter changed the Gene Simmons Band gigs. They postponed them. So subsequently, we had to postpone the vault. So these people they're anxious, they're ready, and it's going to be great. I'm really excited to get to go there.
In terms of the scheduling of what's going to be going on at these events, how do they compare with the ones that you've done elsewhere? Obviously, having the Gene Simmons Band and a certain spaceman in tow kind of changed the dynamic a little bit, but how do you envisage that affecting the fans' actual Vault experiences?
So most of the Vault experience have been the songs and stories and the handing out of the vaults. Or, like with Madrid, we had a breakfast situation, which became a lunch because it was later in the day, and it was Q&A and then handing out of the vaults. This one's, again, going to be a little bit different, a little bit special in the fact that the fans get to come to sound check. So if you bought a vault, you and your guests get to come to sound check, sit in the first 4 rows of sound check. Most of these are general admission situations, so when you go back, and you also get a pair of tickets to that night's show. That's included in your vault purchase. You'll get to watch the Gene Simmons Band sound check. You'll probably get to see Ace do a little bit of a sound check. And then after sound check, we're going to go to an area and we're going to do the vault handout, the one-on-one time with Gene. Ace has told me, I saw Ace last night at the Greek opening for Alice Cooper. We had a nice conversation. He's planning on coming to all of the vault experiences. He'll have his table in the corner. He'll be there to take pictures and sign autographs and everything with the fans that come to the vault. And you get sound check, you get the show, you get to come back, you get your vault, and then we're going to store all the vaults in like a coat room so you don't have to worry about it, so you can enjoy the show. And you get to watch the show, you get a pair of tickets, and then after the show, a very haggard-looking me will meet you at the coat room, and we'll help you get your vaults, and you'll take your vaults wherever you live. So
wow,
these are all going to be different. I mean, especially as we're looking into next year, it's not gonna be the standard. They all evolve based on Gene's schedule. They all evolve based on the city, based on availability. To get to watch soundcheck and to get free tickets to the show, that's a pretty good bonus for the Australian crowd. Plus, you get your one-on-one time with Gene and you get the vault, so it's pretty cool.
And you get the spaceman. I mean, that's the part
Yeah.
that, I've already done a vault experience, obviously the one in LA in January. And, last week I saw Ace at 2 shows. I thought he absolutely killed it. He was on fire. He was tight. He seemed to be happy, healthy. His band were fist bumping. Obviously, he's going to be backed by the Gene Simmons band for this Australian outing, which I think adds a very, very interesting kind of dynamic to how Ace is going to do with those guys because, they are, I'm not going to say they're better than the likes of Chris Wise because that's just not true, but they're very, very accomplished musicians, fun guys, awesome to be around as well. So I look forward to hearing a different type of kind of Ace Frehley performance being backed by a different band than the guys he's worked with for pretty much the last couple of years.
Yeah, and they're also giant Kiss fans, and they know the music inside and out, so they're as excited to do it as the fans will be to see it, and to get to see Gene and Ace back to back with a solid band. Those guys are just so good. It's going to be a great night of Kiss rock and roll. And you got to imagine too, Ace is going to do some songs that Gene doesn't do with his band, and Gene's going to do other songs. So you're going to get a good slice of Kiss and solo stuff from both of them mixed into the show. So it's going to be awesome.
And you probably don't have the answer to this, and it's not really a question, it's just an observation. I know that the Gene Simmons Band boys have made Gene do some material that he might not otherwise have done. Who knows what might be the case with Ace? It's one of those things. I think it's a tasty proposition, not necessarily one that will come to Ace going deep back into his catalog, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to play. I know that Ryan and Jeremy and Brent and Philip, they're always pushing Gene to do other stuff. I'm sure they'll have some tricks up their sleeves. So I'm sure if Ace is amenable, they'll have stuff ready to go if he wants to play it.
Now, let's, Australia obviously is the next big thing. The rest of the year is pretty light on schedule. There's been a few dates. There was supposed to be San Francisco this week, that have been put off. I'm wondering if you can address any of those cancellations for the fans out there who, there were quite a few who were disappointed by it. It is a business, and there are other factors that come into play whenever one of these projects is going on. But, being the official voice of the project, is there anything that you can add for those fans to assuage their disappointment?
Yeah, and it disappoints us to have to disappoint even one fan. The reality is, it is a business, and Gene is a very busy guy. So we're at his mercy. So if his schedule changes, we got to go with it, and it's a matter of supply and demand. If you have a city where the demand is not strong, then the supply is not going to come into the town. And the other thing is, which we can't go into great detail, is some stuff's happening next year allegedly. So when that happens, you're going to see Gene, allegedly, in several places and several cities with days off. So there's potential to do stuff then. It just, at this point in time, there were a lot of places where Gene had a lot going on, and he basically said, look, next year, and why not do some of these cities next year? And rather than put these people into a wait pattern, $2,000 is not a lot, is not a little bit of money to have tied up. He wanted us to cancel certain dates, so we canceled them with the caveat that, look, something's coming. We'll let you know for next year if you want to come. And in most cases, it was only a few people per city. So anybody getting disappointed with this project bothers me personally because it's all about making the fans happy. But it just, between scheduling conflicts and things changing, Connecticut, Gene Simmons Band was supposed to play. That's postponed to in the future. So he wasn't going to be in Connecticut, so we had to move that. San Francisco, Gene had something this weekend that he had to do, so San Francisco got moved. All stuff along that lines. But I think we've got Australia, followed by Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is a Sweetwater thing, which is something different. If you want to get into it, I'll talk about that. And then and then we have the Kiss Cruise. Vault's going to be on the Kiss Cruise. And then we're ending the year with LA and Vegas. I think we're going to end the year strong. People are going to, kind of a celebration of what we did and how we made this thing real. And then going into next year, once things are announced, if everything happens the way it's going to happen, you'll see other Vault-related activities happening in the new year. So yeah, again, we don't want to disappoint anybody, but the reality of Gene's schedule has always been that he's got a lot going on, and supply and demand drives what markets you go to. He said since the very beginning He said he would go to these cities if there were enough people in each city. So I think with next year, when they announce what they're going to announce, you'll see us in more cities. You'll see people who haven't had a chance to get the vault will have a chance to get the vault in maybe a more intimate way than in the past.
I'm curious about one thing, and obviously if you don't want to answer it, just say, no, I don't want to talk about that, sure, and I won't be offended. And I was always curious when these events started, being sold, whether there was ever, I don't know what your baseline for canceling an event was, in terms of supplier demand, whether there was maybe any reason to not communicate unless X amount of vaults are sold for a particular event, then it may not take place. Was it ever thought about or discussed that maybe we should tell people in order to get them off the fence and pull the trigger?
No, because honestly, most of the events, the ones that actually happened, we didn't have to worry about it. I mean, the response was overwhelmingly positive. We were shocked in some places. We said, okay, these are the cities we think people might want to come to. Let's see what happened. And in 98% of the cities, there wasn't even a question. People came to it. We reached sold out numbers in a couple of places, or right at sold out numbers. Because remember, we always said we were going to cap it at 50 because we wanted to stay intimate. We didn't want it to be a cattle call. And I think that's what we did. I believe people will say that, we wanted it to all be special. So we never went, oh guys, if we don't sell this, because that seems a little heavy-handed, to say to the fans, hey, listen, if you don't get enough people here, you can't come. We're not going to do it. We always said, let's put them on sale. Let's see what happens. And then with the caveat that if Gene had something that came up, he had the right at any point in time to say, we're going to have to postpone this one or we're going to have to cancel this one based on scheduling conflicts.
No, fair enough. Thank you for the answer. That's exactly the sort of answer I think that people can either take it or leave it.
Right.
One thing that did concern me with LA, and obviously that was the very first one. I was expecting it to be a little bumpy. It wasn't. Not from my perspective. You might you might say otherwise. But I thought that went incredibly smoothly. I felt very fortunate to be able to do that one, and that's why I wanted to do that one in particular. But I'm curious about Gene. He worked his tail off. He was on his feet from basically early morning to late evening on that particular one. Obviously, it helped that Ace was around and Bruce and Eric were there to kind of keep us entertained. The vault was piping through, and there was a copious quantity of alcohol available, which I think that's gone, hasn't it, from some of the events?
No. So it depends. It depends on the event. Some of the events there's been alcohol. Like Madrid was a breakfast, so it wouldn't have been appropriate to get people drunk first thing in the morning. So no, I mean there's still alcohol and food. The Gene Simmons philosophy. I'll answer the tired question in a second. But his philosophy with all of these is give people more than you tell them you're going to give them. We never said when you bought the vault you were going to get food. We never said you were going to get booze. We never said you were going to get special guests. It was, and Gene actually points out that in the initial videos when you watch, he doesn't say anything about songs and stories. Gene talks about how he's going to come to your area and give you the vault. So he wanted to always make sure that people got more. When people show up, like when in Germany, when Gene had to postpone Germany from March until we just executed in Frankfurt, we made special posters in Germany and special guitar picks and gave them to people when they came in for free. Always a little something. Doro showed up in Frankfurt. We didn't tell anybody Doro was coming. Barry Hay from Golden Earring showed up in Amsterdam. Nobody knew he was coming. We wanted these little, they're almost like Easter eggs in a DVD set where you're going to get this, but when you walk in, you also get this and this and this. And we tried to do that all along. But going back to Gene's tiredness, that was a long day for everybody, and I'm glad it looked smooth to you because we, behind the scenes, that's our job. Our job behind the scenes is to never. There are. You can't imagine the little things that happen. Vaults don't show up until 15 minutes before an event because a trucking company or some fell off the truck, and we have to go in a Uber in the middle of the night. In Tokyo, when we did a press conference there, they couldn't find any of the vaults for the press conference. I was in a DHL facility in Tokyo that looked like, something out of a Kurt Russell Escape From film. And they were like, the vault's not here. And I said, but the tracking number says that they're somewhere in the facility. He goes, not here. And that was it. And it was 4:00 in the morning and I'm jet lagged. And, and then magically, literally 20 minutes before the press conference, the sweatiest man I've ever met was pushing a cart with the 2 vaults on it, dripping and sweaty. He's like, I found them. So there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. It's our job to make sure that as a fan that's there, you don't see that. You just see having a good time. Gene has been a trooper the whole way. I mean, the man has a schedule like nobody else does, but he does the vault because he wants to do the vault. He created the idea of doing this and doing this tour because he wanted to, not because he has to. So even on the longest days, he doesn't turn to me and say, "Oh, I'm tired." He literally goes, "Okay, let's keep going," until everyone is taken care of and everyone is happy. And then we get in the car, and that's when you just stop and you go and you rest and see what happens the next day.
How happy are you with the general format that's it's kind of evolved throughout the first half of this year, but it's generally been a songs and stories section at some point during vault presentations, and I think that's it. But how has it kind of worked for you?
It's worked great. I think the songs and stories has allowed people to really get an intimate look at who Gene is and what he does, and it's nice to have that performance aspect. And then the vault presentations have been great. It's definitely evolved. Early on they tended to drag, and they took a long time. As being a fan and as being around the fans, there are some fans that they come, they know they get what they want, their autographs, their photos, they're happy. There are other fans that if you would allow them to, they'd bring a sleeping bag and a pillow and they would move and never leave the room. And that's not fair to the 30th fan in line or the 48th fan in line. So we kind of streamlined that process a little bit, and it saves on wear and tear on Gene. He doesn't have to be standing up for 8-9 hours, so he can get it done in 5 or 6. But yeah, it's worked out great. I've enjoyed songs and stories. That's why for me the last 2, December 1st and 2nd, first being in LA, second being in Vegas, I really want people to come out to it because that's kind of going to be, we're not calling it the ends of songs and stories, but next year, based on the touring schedule, it's going to be a little different. It's going to be more one-on-one and less presentation for a group. So we want to make sure that if anyone has missed the songs and stories, if they haven't seen it yet or only seen it online, or they've been going, well, I'm saving up or I'm holding out, that they come December 1st to LA or December 2nd to Vegas to kind of get the celebration songs and stories. Tommy Thayer is going to be in Vegas with us on December 2nd.
Okay, that was going to be one of my questions with Portland having
Tommy's coming December 2nd. We've got some fan, like rock musicians who are fans of Gene, who are big names. They're not going to necessarily perform with Gene on the 1st, but there are a couple people who have already called me and said, I want to come to the LA thing. And there are people that the fans would be thrilled to meet that are, it's going to be a surprise. You're going to walk in and go, holy, there's so-and-so. What's he doing here? So we've got that for December 1st. And, it's going to be great. We want to take those 2 shows and 2 vaults and go, hey, thank you to everybody that came. Look what we did in a year. It's amazing. Everyone said this can't be done. Every record, Universal and all people Gene dealt with in the past, it took him 15, 16 years to create this box set that he's been talking about forever. We did it. We took a risk. We worked hard. We worked way outside the box on how to make it real and how to put it all together. And then we made the box and we made the vault. And, we're going to be, at the end of the year, we're going to be like 30 vault experiences plus all the different home experiences we did, that was another crazy thing that people actually paid and had the home experience. Almost a dozen people, which is just, that to me was a long shot, but it happened. And it's going to be a chance to say, hey, thank you guys. And this is the vault. And next year, if you didn't get a vault and you want to come to these other things we're setting up, great. But come now, see the last songs and stories, be part of it, celebrate it, get together with everybody. And I can't tell you the details yet, but on those things, we're working on a deal now where if you already bought the vault, and you want to come to the vault experience and not buy a second vault, we're working on a deal where you can actually buy and come to the vault experiences in LA and Vegas without having to spend. And if you want to buy a second vault, great. They make good end tables. You put it on the side of your bed. They do. My wife, I said, look, honey, new end tables. And she said, yeah, no. But if you want to come to the vault and be there, we're working on a deal now where previous vault buyers can buy in and be at the vault experience without having to buy a second vault.
And that is something certainly I can upsell, because I did attend the Las Vegas one as a guest of someone,
Right.
even though I wasn't receiving a vault. It was still a very fun experience to be a part of, not least because Mr. Starchild Paul Stanley was present there, and Bob Kulick and Robert Fleischman, and oh
Yep.
my goodness, I mean, that was insane that day. And I must just take you back there, because the camaraderie between Gene and Paul on stage, you were sitting up near there. I was, way in the back, out of the way. But just to watch those two kind of goofing off with their 45 years of history together was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where, Gene always talks about how they're like brothers and they've got this great history together. That moment, you saw the brotherhood. You saw why these guys, as different as they are personality-wise, why they're able to stay in the same band and why they're able to make this work. And the love. I mean, let's be frank. Those dudes love each other. They love jabbing at each other, making fun of each other. They have this great chemistry, which has made them, as successful as a band as it has, and they're friends when they're on stage together. You see that, and that was an amazing day. I mean, to be able to it kind of, we were going all along. Obviously, we were lucky. We got Ace for 3 vaults. We got Peter to show up in New York. We got Vinnie Vincent to show up in Nashville. We got Bruce and Eric to show up at the launch party. And as we going along, everyone said the same thing. What about Paul? Is Paul going to come? And then, the naysayers who have radio shows were like, Paul Stanley will never come to the vault. And I'm like, that's not true. Paul has, we knew behind the scenes that it was a matter of when Paul's schedule allowed. And boom, Vegas, it worked out. He had the time. And we were so happy that we could, we can make that happen. And that was an amazing day. And Paul couldn't have been nicer. He took pictures with absolutely every buyer. He was supposed to leave. They moved his flight by 2 hours so he could take photos with every buyer. And then he turned to me and said, hey, and then everyone got back in line to get their vaults. And he said, do you want me to sign all of the vaults so that everyone, has my signature as well? And I was like, yes. And, and so that every one of these things we try to make a little special and a little different, and that was an amazing day. So thrilled to be standing there and watching it and get to see everyone's reaction. I was just there's so many amazing moments on this in this last 2 year doing this for 2 years. That was up near the top, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Stanley is an incredibly gracious rock star. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. And when he's in that role and you're not interrupting him while he's shopping at Whole Foods, he is so on. And just, I saw the pictures of people, and I was talking to people at the bar after that event, and they were just flabbergasted by, number one, how classy the whole thing was. And this was Vegas too. So, they were just blown away. All the feedback I've had out of people who've done a vault experience has been overwhelmingly positive, and that's what I find amazing as well. It really seems that the majority of people who have done this have enjoyed it. I know there have been a few hiccups here and there, and that's just par for the course. I think customer service has done an incredible job at fielding an awful lot of information. So, I mean, here's an opportunity to give those folks a shout out for the hard work that they've done.
We have great people at customer service, and I gotta, Gene, you guys keep saying GeneSimmonsVault.com, but we Mac, who runs our customer service, is fantastic, and then Jeff and Sherry, who are the people on the phones helping everyone. Anyone who has any kind of hiccup, they're just amazing. They're just really great people, and the beautiful thing about all of this is we all come from it. When we started, when we were putting it all together, we're like, who are Kiss fans? Because it was very important that anyone who had any kind of contact with the public had to be a Kiss fan. I'm a huge fan. Mac Dunlap is a huge fan. He was with us last night at Ace. Sherry, who we hired to answer the phone, she was at Ace last night. And Jeff is in Texas. And Jeff actually had flown to a couple of different vault experiences on his own dime to help us, to put in extra hands so he could be there. He came to Nashville and stuff. So yeah, they're awesome. I mean, we tried. Look, there are a few people you're not going to make happy. We've tried to make sure that everyone is happy before and during and after the events. And, there are a few people that there's no making them happy. That's going to happen. But a lot of the negativity comes from people who didn't buy the vault. And I understand there are people frustrated. They can't afford it. It's not, as Gene said, it's not for everybody. But, I think most of the people left the vault experiences going, that was worth my money. It was worth my time. and it was what I wanted it to be. Because that was our whole focus the entire time. Just make sure, and my job is when everyone leaves, they all go, wow, that was great.
From your perspective, what's the craziest vault experience that's taken place? Because you've done some pretty wild ones. I must say the ones in Scandinavia kind of jump out at me just because the Scandinavian fans are just a whole different level than everywhere else in the world. I mean, that's even been proven with a different project and product recently where 60% of the interest came from Scandinavia in that. The Gene Simmons band performance at Grona Lund was absolutely insane as well, with that kid getting up and drumming with the band, but just it all tying together into a weekend of packages. So, from your perspective, what are some of the highlights that you've experienced during the year? Because obviously you've been all over the world. I mean, you've been like rocking in the USA lyrically in life.
I tell you, for me, the highlights are, it's kind of twofold. It's seeing the old band members get together. Or the current band member. It's seeing Gene and Ace interact in Miami, driving to the gig, the two of them in the car, telling stories and cracking each other up. It's seeing that kind of camaraderie of your childhood heroes. And then when we did the Miami event, it was great. There was nothing crazy that happened there other than the one fan who climbed the fence and tried to sneak in. That was a little scary. We had a guy, like, he literally scaled a fence, and we're like, and he's not supposed to. But seeing Vinny come to Nashville, I never in my lifetime would I imagine that Vinny Vincent and Gene Simmons would share a space other than a lawyer's office together. To see that and to see Vinny's a genuine appreciation of the fans and happy to be around Gene and everything, and to see those guys back together was great. But the traveling is amazing. I've been to some amazing places. Some of them Sweden was absolutely amazing. Getting to ride all the roller coasters at Gruna Lund early in the morning before the show was so much fun. There are other places you only see for a half minute. Oslo, I can't tell you much about Oslo. It was like literally we flew in, we did the vault, we went to the hotel, and we flew out. But above and beyond the travel, the most amazing part is, and I say this, you feel like Santa's helper. Seeing the faces of the fans when they come into that room and they get their vault, and they're hearing their stories and they're seeing their tears and their smile, and just that's the greatest part about it. Because I remember 2 years ago driving to Gene Simmons' house for the first time when I was told, we might have this job that you might be able to do. And I just remember the first time I saw him in person and walked into his house and talked to him, that feeling I felt of being 10 years old again, and it's Christmas, and I want Destroyer for Christmas, and just that feeling of just nervousness and excitement, and seeing the fans on the road and whatever country, whatever language, that's been the best part. Seeing their faces and seeing their reactions to getting to meet Gene, and seeing Gene genuinely be interested in them. Cynical people can say what they want. He is generally interested. He's 100% engaged. They have stories to tell. He wants to listen to the stories. And that interaction is the best part. It really is. It's being able to facilitate so much happiness for people and making a dream, just being a little part of making someone's dream come true has been the best part about doing the entire vault experience.
One of the things that also changed during the experiences, I believe, and do correct me on anything if I'm off base, sure. If I have a false perception, just tell me I'm wrong. I do hear it. Is that initially Gene was opening the secret compartment and Correct. Going through those special gifts and stopped doing that. Right. I mean, even I was vault number 2. I'm always going to be happy with that. And I declined to have him open mine because I didn't want to show any disappointment if I was less than impressed by what was in there, realizing that this is a Cracker Jack jockey type thing, that it's an extra, it's nothing to do with the actual thing, it's just a bonus item and whatnot. But he stopped doing that. Was that because of time, or was it because of people's expressions?
It was a combination of things. First of all, it says right on that drawer, a gift from Gene Simmons.
Yep.
And my 10-year-old put it best when I would come home and tell him the stories about people complaining. My 10-year-old looked at me and he goes, "Dad, you get what you get and you don't complain." He goes, "Everybody knows that." And I'm like, "Dude, Nigel, you're 10, you know that." But it was a combination of things. People were complaining about their gifts weren't special enough. And it just think about that phrase for a second. It's a gift, and you're complaining that's not special enough. So there was that. It was also a time thing. It did add quite a bit of time. And again, you're talking about a 68-year-old man standing on his feet for 8, 9, 10 hours. We were trying to find a way to make it easier. And you're talking about the poor person who's number 48 in line, standing, waiting around for 6, 7 hours to get to meet Gene. So we try to find a way to streamline it a little bit without making it rushed, without making it feel, we wanted it to still be personal. By him not doing the special gifts, it eliminated the people complaining, and at least in person. And it kind of slimmed down the time a little bit, so it was less wear and tear on Gene and less wear and tear on fans having to wait around all day.
That's exactly what I would have thought, and obviously it is what it is. I mean, just be thankful that there's any extra item in there. I mean, right. Maybe you deserve to open it up and just have like crumbs in there. And these were Gene Simmons cookies. Unfortunately, he ate them, but he hasn't been eating cookies, has he? He's like trying to slim down for some reason.
For him, yeah. He's been cutting down on the baked goods, which means the more baked goods get. He looks at me and goes, "You should eat these." So he's vicariously eating them through me, much to the chagrin of my waistline. But no, he's healthy, so he's getting ready. He's getting ready for alleged things next year. He needs to be in top shape.
Yeah, every time I've seen him this year, he's been happy, he's been healthy, he's been humble, which, Gene Simmons is an egomaniac, but he's also very, very appreciative, and he's not afraid to show that to people, and it never comes across as fake. I don't think you could...
It's not.
Because it's not, exactly.
It's completely sincere. I mean, one of the better parts about the Vault is you get to see the real guy. You know what I mean? He's on TV, boastful. That's his job. But when you go to the Vault experience and you get your time with Gene, you get to see the real guy, and he is completely humbled by how the fans have reacted, and that anyone would be interested. And he said at the very beginning, he said, "I don't know if people are going to be interested," and I said, "Well, the music alone is fantastic. People are going to want the music." So he's it's an opportunity to see the real guy, which to me is one of the best parts about it.
Yeah, I think the music, it still remains the key for me. I mean, even as great as the experience was with all the added benefits of LA, the first LA, I still listen to some of the Vault on a weekly basis. I disagree with Eddie Trunk's characterization that, it's a bunch of lo-fi. It's not a bunch of lo-fi recordings. There are some tapes that are definitely work tapes, but when you take it within the context of the creative process, all aspects of it are represented, from tape recorder in a closet up through full 24-track studio recordings and then into the Pro Tools era.
That's exactly what Gene wanted. He wanted... There are tracks on there that are sonically, they're fully recorded studio tracks. There are others that have historical importance, and we mastered, remastered, and remastered at the Capitol Studios for weeks on end. Each disc got sent through 4 or 5 different times. So there was a lot of care spent in making things sound as good as possible. Yeah, when Trunk said that it was a bunch of cassette demos, that was disappointing to hear, because that obviously strikes me as a guy who probably listened to 4 or 5, flipped through a couple of tracks, went to the Van Halen tracks, which those are historically significant, and they were cassette demos, but, they're as clean as we could get them. And then there are other tracks that are just full sonic tracks. I think if he'd spent any real time with the box set, I think that, his opinion might have been a little different. But, what are you going to do? Some people, they love to complain. You're never going to make them happy, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, and opinions vary. I'm of the mind of one of my biggest takeaways from this box was, how the hell wasn't that on a Kiss album? I've asked that so many times after listening to it, and I've always been more a fan of Paul Stanley's writing, to be honest. Wow. His material has always been more in my wheelhouse, but there is so much on there from Gene that I was like, wow, that's better than the Gene songs that were on the album. What on earth was going on here? So
the way he describes it is, he Paul's very much an artisan in the fact that Paul would come in and say, here are my 7 or 8 songs. He can write specific songs. Gene would come in with a box of tapes and go, here's 30 or 40 songs. And then, he would rely on the other people, the producers, the other people to say, well, these are the best. and then the rest of them would get put away and subsequently. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there that you go, wow, that should have been on the Kiss record. I can't believe, I mean, Are You Ready, which is the first track, as you know, and the Gene Simmons band is playing Are You Ready live. That is a concert opener, that should have been a Kiss song, but one reason or another, it didn't make it on. So thankfully, the Vault finally gave you an opportunity to put all the music out. That's I was lucky to spend months with the music before we even had a package and everything. And I that for me, there's some amazing stuff on there, and people really need to. I know that it's a lot to get through, but you spend time with the music, and you're going to be duly impressed. At the very least, you're going to make one hell of a greatest hit mix CD, as I have of your favorite tracks. There's so much on there.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the upcoming events. You've got the Sweetwater Studio event coming up October the 6th and 7th. So that's after you get back from Australia, you have a good break. What does that entail, and what makes that special? Because that's a 2-day event.
Yeah, so the Sweetwater event is kind of like the Vault on steroids. It includes stuff. It includes your songs and stories, your Q&A. It includes your handing out of the vault. But there's also an entirely separate day that includes going into the recording studio with Gene and recording with Gene. The buyers of the Sweetwater Vault will get to watch Gene lay down bass parts. They're going to get to sing on a track with Gene. They're going to get to it's like the Vault plus what Sweetwater does. Sweetwater has this amazing facility in Fort Wayne, and they're going to have this. You're going to be part of the creative process with Gene. And then the people who buy the vault not only get their vault, but they get a disc at the end with the song with Gene. So it's kind of, it's a little more. It's $5,000. And again, like Gene says, it's not for everybody, but if you've ever wanted to do the vault, or you want to do another vault, and you've ever wanted to wonder what it's like to be in a recording studio, actually recording stuff with Gene, it's a great opportunity to do it in a really cool facility.
Excellent. That sounds fascinating. Also, Gene you'll be on the cruise, or will you be on the cruise?
Oh yes. So yes, my second cruise. I still couldn't convince my wife to come. So I'm like, honey, she's like, no, I'm not going on a boat. So yeah, we're gonna do the vault on the cruise. We're working out the details on that now, but it's basically the way it's gonna work is we're gonna do songs and stories, and then we're gonna do the handing out of the vault. But what we're gonna do is, we're going to bring the vaults onto the boat. But then you realize that every single person who buys a vault on the boat will be responsible for dragging a vault off the boat.
That's mean. That is mean.
Not a good idea. So what we came up with was this. You order the vault for the Kiss Cruise. Customer service reach out to you ahead of time. Gene, we're going to go up to Gene's with your vaults. He's going to hand sign them and personalize them at his house so that they're ready to go. We're going to then individually ship the vault to your house. So when you get back within, I think it's a 2 to 4 week window after the cruise, your vault will show up there. On the cruise, when you do the vault experience, we will have your vault books with the CDs on the cruise. So when you go to meet Gene, you get your 2 items signed per person, and you also get the book signed. And then when you get home, you have your personalized vault hand signed by Gene that'll be coming to your house right after you get off the cruise. It was too much, as much as I wanted to bring all the vaults on, the people were like, well, how are people going to get the vaults home? And then we all just went, we can get them there, but normally, when you leave a vault event, you put it in your car. A couple people have put it on in a plane, but we didn't want to make people have to drag 40 pounds of metal and wood through Miami to get it home. We think, well, here's the best of all worlds. You get it signed the way you want it signed, hand signed, and you get the songs and stories, you get the meet and greet, and you don't have to lug it. It's going to show up, and we've got these new, I'm excited about cardboard boxes, Julian. That's how sad my life is. We've got these new exterior boxes. When you buy a dishwasher and it's super packed, yep. So we've got these new exterior boxes. So to make sure that everything is great and safe, and then all the contents, the doll, action figure, and the special gifts will come in a separate box so that the insides are all protected as well. And that'll show up, and you have your book, and you assemble it all together, and boom, you'll have your vault in your house, and you'll have your photo op on the cruise with Gene, and your autograph, and the songs and stories. So it's going to be great. It's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see how it works at sea. We're going to put it in a smaller space. It's not going to be in the giant showroom because, we're going to keep it intimate. Again, we've said it all along. The most we want to do per event is 50 buyers and each of their guests. So, with that, same thing's going to be on the cruise. So we're planning on doing at least one vault on the cruise. If the demand is there, he's going to have a second opportunity on the cruise to do a second vault. And, other than that, Cousin Ace will be there, and it's going to be a good time. Maybe able to persuade Ace to wander by, or Bob and Bruce to wander by while we're doing the vault. You never know.
Got a lot of the Kiss family available on that ship. One thing about the vault. Any plans to have Gene take a photo with each person's individual vault after he's dedicated it?
Well, no, that's a great idea. You mean while he's actually
just so that people have a picture of their vault with Gene.
Idea. Yeah, we can certainly do that. And then on the cruise, we will have 2 display vaults. So when people do the meet and greet for the vault, if they want a vault in the picture with Gene, we can certainly we'll have them on hand to do that as well. But that's a great idea. As he's signing them, have individual pictures and then email them to the buyers.
Just so they've got a record of it. You know how people are when they want to prove that it was actually Gene who signed it. The other thing is, obviously, you've just mentioned that there are going to be some vaults around for people to actually see in person. Sure. Those have been very popular, actually. When the vault was at the Atlanta Kiss Expo in January and Indy in May, they were a hive of activity, people checking out these products. Are there going to be any other opportunities that you know of throughout the rest of the year for people to actually be able to see a vault in person anywhere? I know that I think the Miami pre-party's doing a raffle of a vault. Yes. I don't know if they'll have one in person or anything, but are there any that you know of?
So here's the deal. For the Miami, there's the vault will be on the ship. Obviously, there'll be 2 of them. Will be down. I believe we're on the 6th floor, right near the casino. We'll be in the same place. There's 3 other guys from Rhino coming with me this year, so we're going to take turns. So the cruise last year was great, but there were a lot of moments where we didn't get to do anything. We were just there. So we're going to try and make sure that everyone gets to do something fun this year as well. As far as the pre-parties go, allegedly there are 2 pre-parties. I'm supposed to be appearing at one of them. I'm supposed to be doing a little vault presentation at one of them, and we're going to be, and they're raffling off a vault. The second one, they're also raffling off a vault. They've invited me. I heard recently that maybe one of them isn't happening. So once they figure out what they're going to do there, the answer is simple. The vault will be at whatever pre-parties exist in Miami on display to be raffled. I will be at one of the pre-parties, if not both, and then the other pre-party, someone from Rhino, I may make them wear a red shirt and no extra leather jacket because there's only one. They'll be there as well. So people will be able. It's important for people to get to touch the vault. I mean, when people saw it on the cruise, the trick is until you saw it in person, you're like, what is this? Is it cardboard? And many people came up and they're like, oh my God, they're like, oh, this is great. This is the model. What's the real one going to look like? And I'm like, no, these are the real. That's it. That's one of them. That's number 4 off the production line. That's what it is. So it's important when people get to see it and touch it and hear some of the music. And I think that will help going into next year once we start doing the stuff around the alleged tour, that people will go, okay, I've saved up. I'm ready to buy the vault. Or, wow, he's going to be in this place. Okay, I'm going to go to this event and spend a couple hours with him in this place.
Right. So that's a very positive to come out of this conversation, that outside of Fort Wayne and the Kiss Cruise, which is Miami, Los Angeles and Las Vegas.
Yep.
It's right in front of me. For people who aren't able to do those, obviously it's in their interest to do these final 2 in the United States while they can, because those will likely be the final songs and stories. But there is hope for things that are allegedly, possibly
that's the
being
thing.
planned next year.
Once we know what next year really is going to be, we've got plans. We've got ideas. We've had conversations, and Gene is amenable to doing stuff. It won't stretch long into next year, because I got to be honest with you. We only made 5,000 vaults, and we're not making any more. So once they're gone, and the project's gone really, really well. So the hope is, look, we want we want Fort Wayne, the Kiss Cruise, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles to be successful. We want them to be celebrations of the year, and we want anyone who either hasn't seen the vault or done the vault yet, or has and wants a second one, or just wants to be there, we want everyone to be there, and we want them to be a nice send-off to the year. And then we'll see what happens with next year. We're open to it. Gene's open to it. It's all going to come down to scheduling. It's all going to come down to what he can do, and what the band's going to do. And once we align the two schedules, I think we'll see dozens, hopefully, of cities where we may pop into a city and it's the day after the show and the band is resting and we have a 2-hour event and you come out and you have breakfast or lunch and there's maybe 10 people there with their guests. There's maybe 15 as a max. And you get your vault in your homes, in your city and your hometown. You get everything that you would. There won't be songs and stories because it just time won't allow for it. But knowing Gene, there'll be a little Q&A. He certainly, when we did Madrid, we had all these things planned. And the first half an hour of Madrid, everyone got into a semicircle, and it was like a press conference. And it was all the questions that everyone ever wanted to ask. They asked, and everyone was really, while eating croissants and having fun. And then everyone got their vaults and their photos. It was a really good time, and it was a really good kind of snapshot into what we can do in these markets if everything goes the way it's planning and if scheduling allows, coming into 2019.
Perfect. Well, here's to a safe end of the year, and people who are listening in Australia know that only one or two maybe opportunities exist. If you haven't gotten off the fence, you might certainly want to try and pull that trigger now, right?
Absolutely.
You don't want to have to ship to Australia. Bloody hell, that would be.
And the thing is, everything is shipped. You know what I mean? And we cut them at the intimate, and it's just like after it's too expensive for people to buy it. We're like, come to the events, get your vault. You don't want to pay hundreds of dollars later, and you don't. And I say to people all the time, and I've met so many people that have saved. They've driven Uber, they've done whatever it takes to get to the vault. I say to people, I don't miss it, because if it's anywhere in your ability to come to one of these, do it. Because as a fan, you're not going to want to hear all your friends talking about how great it was after the fact. And I've already met a couple people that said, "Oh, I wish I had gone to that one. I wish I'd gone to Nashville, or I wish I'd gone to Vegas too." And I'm like, don't, life is very, very short. Don't wish it. If it's not going to kill you financially, if you're not going to lose your house because you're doing it, or you're not putting off some much needed dental work instead, if you can afford it, come to the vault. It's gonna be one of those moments you're never going to forget, as you can attest. And you're going to have a great time. You're going to look at the pictures later on and go, wow, that was really cool.
Yeah, let me parrot that. As a fan, GeneSimmonsVault.com. Get off the fence. You've got opportunities to do so for the remainder of the year. Only Los Angeles and Las Vegas, unless you're doing the Kiss Cruise, and the Sweetwater is obviously a very, very special event. But get off it. I don't regret 1 cent of that. It was absolutely amazing. I'm still happy to this day. And, without sounding too much like an infomercial, life is too short. I don't have any regrets. Get that opportunity while you can, because who knows what form, if anything occurs next year with the vaults, what it will take. So be a part of it. Be a part of the herd.
No, not the herd. The herd sounds terrible. Just do what you want in life. I mean, enjoy. We all work hard for what we have. I don't drive a fancy car. I drive a minivan. It's like where you get to spend your money is where you get to spend your money, and just enjoy it. If you see something you want out there and you can do it, because it's not going to be around forever. It's not going to be something that you're going to go, oh, I can get that later down the line at the local Walmart. No, it's like, it's now, it's happening. We're going to go to 2019, and when they're all gone, which will happen pretty quickly into 2019, we'll have reached it. Then that's it. And people are going to go, oh, I wish I'd gotten that. And then what are you going to do? Find it on eBay and spend, $4,000 or buy pieces of it on eBay? It's not the same. The experience, being there, seeing it, talking to Gene in person, it's something you should do if you can.
Yeah, I'm very happy that very little has shown up on eBay. That is a relief.
There was one or two people that early on it got me really angry, and I was like, but you know what? It's America, and secondary markets exist, and it's going to be what it's going to be, And for my money, you want the experience. You want everything. You shouldn't want a little tiny piece of it. It's not the same.
No, you go to the events and fans show up, and they've gone to the effort of making pics and other bits and pieces and stuff to share with each other at the events. And that's the part that, absolutely blows my mind with KISS fans, just how people love doing that sort of stuff and bringing things to share with each other at these events that they're a part of, just to commemorate it.
Yeah, it's a real, it's amazing, the sense of community, people looking out for each other, people having fun with each other, people sharing conversations and sharing memories. And again, there was always going to be some negative, but that came from mostly people who didn't even bother coming to the events and never were going to. I think that we've all had a really, really good experience with it, generally speaking. And I met some amazing, fantastic people and, made some new friends, and looking forward to the KISS cruise, because there'll be a lot of people there that last year on the cruise were strangers and now are kind of friends. So it'll be a little bit different environment, I think.
Well, let's leave it there, unless there's anything you need need or would like to add, other than GeneSimmonsVault.com is where you go. Exactly. Yes, Gene, we're learning. We're getting it.
GeneSimmonsVault.com. No, that's basically it. Go for information on the stuff for the rest of the year. Come to LA or come to Las Vegas, December 1st, December 2nd. Las Vegas, again, it's going to be a KISS Monster Mini Golf like we've done the last two. So you get to play mini golf for free. There's going to be food. You get Tommy Thayer's going to be there with Gene. Plus you never know what other famous rock stars from the world of Vegas will be popping by. And LA, we're planning something really big. It's it's kind of like a rap party. It's kind of a way to say thank you to everybody and just be proud of this thing, this idea that Gene had in his head that we were lucky enough to be part of making real. So, and just thank you and the guys for the support. Obviously, we appreciate it. You guys have been really, really helpful with the vault the whole way. We appreciate you guys. And thanks to the fans, who really came out and appreciated what we did. So it's exciting, and 2019 looks to be amazing. We just have to wait and see until official announcements are made. But 2019, we're gonna have some fun as well.
Fantastic. Well, Keith Valcourt, Global Product Manager of the Gene Simmons Vault.
Product. Look at my own business card. I think it's project. Yes.
Well, thank you for joining us today and giving us an update on the Gene Simmons Vault experience. Safe travels to Australia. Enjoy yourself there. I'm sure you'll have a very, very good time during that. You're going to have the Australia experience.
And I hope the Australians will have a good time. That's we're going to bring it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you, Julian. Appreciate it.
Well, they've been waiting long enough for their experience to happen, so I sure hope they do as well. So.
Promises kept, though. He's kept his promises. He said he'd get there, and he's getting there. He said he would go to Germany, and we went to Germany. So, and again, because he wants to, not because he has to.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for your time. And everyone, GeneSimmonsVault.com for more information. And if you have any questions, please email customer support at Rhino, and they will help you or find out an answer for you. Okay?
Thanks, Julian. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Keith. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.